Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Let me share my screen with you. Okay. I'm going to let the people crawl into the room a little bit. I started the room a little bit early. How's my sound? How's my voice? Everything good? Hey, Connie. Good morning. I have super interesting session for you guys today. Going to kind of blow your mind, I think, on a couple of things. But let's wait for everybody to just kind of crawl into the room and get organized. Hey, Mel. Good morning. So a little bit of a new format as far as visuals. I'm going to take trades off screen, just going to call them out. And then I'll play, once they're live, I'll run them, just because I find that I'm missing a lot of signals because I'm not watching all three charts at the same time. Clearly, we're super well bid. I guess BlackRock, Wells Fargo, all the financials came in with much better numbers than everybody expected. We'll have to see if there's any continuity in the market as we start. But I'm going to, hey, Juan, good morning. I'm going to, I want to show you, while we have, so we don't have any, we're not going to have any trades just yet. So while it's early, I want to show you a couple of really interesting ideas in the Dow and the NAS that I would consider to be time-based, not price-based. And it works the same way, by the way, in FX, just on different times. But I think you'll find it interesting. The best way for me to show this to you is to actually do video replay. So let's go back to. So we're not going to watch the charts for about 5-10 minutes. I'm going to show you all the tools. Let's go back to, what are we at? 14. Okay, let's go back to the 8th, and I'm going to replay from the 8th. And I'm going to show you something interesting. Okay, so the first order of business I want you to appreciate is I'm going to make only 2 trades the whole day, and they're going to be time-based. And we're going to take the first trigger that takes place in that particular time. The 2 times that we're going to trade is Asia Open, which I consider to be from about 19:30 New York, 7:30 in the morning New York, till about let's say 2100. Any signal that shows no, I take it back. Let me just sort of say I was actually doing it from 8:15, because you don't want to do it too early. Asia Open really starts at around 8:15 Tokyo time, which is about 20:15 New York time. Okay, and that's the Asia Open. And then I'm gonna do the New York Open. The New York Open is basically the first signal after 9:30. I'm gonna take that signal also. So let's just play the chart, and I'll show you what I have in mind. So where am I? I'm right here, and let's just stop right here. So 8:15, anytime after 8:15, my first signal is a sell. I'm going to do a very conservative trade, very high probability trade, just because it's low volatility. But there's no reason, I've actually tested this, there's no reason why you can't do 2010, but I'm going to do 25. So as you can basically see, I don't even have to really run the chart for you. I'm just going to run it 25, that banks, okay? And I'm going to just let the price action kind of flow until we get to the morning open, the New York Open, and I'll show you how to trade the New York Open on this. The key thing to this that I really love is it stops us from over trading, which is, I think, like, the point is that the setup is really good. And you could, if you wanted to, you could also do the European Open too. The first signal after 3 o'clock. Here, obviously, in a strong trend, it was very easy to pick it up. I don't trade the European Open because I found that the Asia Open and the New York Open are the 2 of the most intense. There seems to be a follow through in Asia one way or the other, and of course, New York is going to establish some directionality as we start. So we're coming up to the New York Open. It's 8:30. At 9:30, we're going to look for the first signal that comes up for us on the open, okay, and post open, okay. So in this case, actually, the signal is stops me out because the first signal post open, because this is like I guess 9:41, yeah, right here. I get long over here at 9:41. That completely stops me out, which is fine. You're not gonna get them all working at the same time. So let's just keep going. So I had one, in Nasdaq, I had one Asia win, one New York loss. Keep going. The other possibility you can play with is to trade the New York close. But again, I find that if I just limit myself to the New York Open and the Asia Open, I'm going to have the best possibilities. There's definitely possibilities to trade the 1500 hour in New York as well, but I'm going to leave that be. You can see you see how the 1500 hour right over here triggers a sell, and you have definitely continuation of the sell as the market closes into a different flow. But now we're going to get back to Asia Open, and I'm looking for the 8:15 target. I'm at 8:15 start time for my structure. Okay, so boom, basically somewhere around here, right? I am, after 8:30 is where I want to be. So I have a sell signal here, 96. Again, I'm just only going to do 5 points, and obviously, it comes down hard, down. Now I'm letting the price action play out. In Asia session, I generally want my signal to be after 20:15, or 20:30 is probably the right structure. So you don't want to be too early, but you want it to be somewhere around that that sweet spot of 8 to 9 o'clock when Tokyo opens up. Okay. Coming up to the New York session on the 9th, and I'm looking for the first signal after the New York Open. We're getting up to like 9:30. Okay, stop. So one of the things that this actually works. It's 84. It goes all the way down to 73. It's a very, very fast signal, right? And the thing about this is that you really can't do this unless you do. I was going to say unless you do it with an algo, unless you let the algo take the trade, simply because these signals show up and resolve in the opening hours super, super fast. If you are uncomfortable or don't want to use the algo to kind of trade this, and you have to have the algo obviously to trade this, the next idea is then to simply wait for the first half hour and trade the 10 o'clock signal. The 10 o'clock signal is a little more leisurely, sets you up, and you can take this one as well. But regardless, whichever one you took, this was both Asia and New York worked well. I'm going to show you one more example on Nasdaq, and then I want to show you the currency example, because the currency example is really, really strong, and it's completely opposite of what you think you would want to trade, but it's really interesting. Okay, so we're coming up to Asia session, and I'm looking for about an 8:30 trigger time. When Asia comes up, what is the signal going to be at around 8:30? Okay, stop. And this is about 8:20. Between let's say 8:15 and 8:20, because you can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Sell signal here, as you can see, super easy. It resolves in about 10 minutes for a very, very clean trade. So let's keep going into the New York session. And all of this, by the way, I'm happy to replay it for you on the Dow. It also works exactly the same on the Dow. It works in some ways better on the Dow as we get into it. And then we're going to try and do it today on the open, depending on how we get the signals going. But before that, we still have a couple minutes before the open. I'm going to show you currencies. So let's let this play out a little bit until we get the New York Open. I find this very, very helpful to kind of really get to replay the price action, because you get a very, very intuitive sense of how things move around, and as far as how the indicator performs during times of day, which is something I didn't realize until I kind of looked at this hard. I realized how when its signal is valuable and when it's not, it has much more to do with time of day than anything else. Okay, so we are almost coming up to the New York session, right? And stop right here. This is 9:41, so 30. It takes me out at 37. Again, this is super high volatility. So Nasdaq is going to blow me up here simply because of volatility. In other words, if I put a 20 stop on here, I think it's a 38. No, maybe I survive it. I take it back. I think it's a 38, and I actually do survive the volatility because I have a 58 stop, and boom, that resolves profitably. Nasdaq is always a tricky thing simply because the volatility can be so hard. But the direction, as you can see, was absolutely correct. It did crack to the downside. Then what's more interesting is if you wanted to just relax and take the post 10 o'clock signal, this signal was a much more fluid signal. So you came in at 49. Your biggest heat here was 40, and it obviously went up all the way to 56, more than enough for a 5.6 point trade. And that's all you do. Just leave it alone. Don't do anything else, because after that, your probability of losing money is like 90% versus. I'm just being facetious, but the point is you're going to give back everything you win by not focusing on just time of day. So what is this? The 12th of July? Is that a Monday? I guess a Monday, right? Let's just trade Asia session, because we're getting close to Asia session, and then I'll stop. And I want to show you currencies, which are very, very interesting and different. So coming up to the Asia session, you kind of pause this when you get up to about 8:30. Okay, stop. Okay, basically this is 8:35, so that's pretty much within our sweet spot. We're long 82s, right? And we're letting the price action resolve itself. You're gonna feel some heat. And this thing, yeah, I think it works. It works. I think it resolves. It takes a really long time, though. I think this takes a super, super long time to resolve. Does it? No, it starts to fade out. I hang on a second. I'm sorry. This now goes 82 to, yeah, it did not. 83. Yeah, this just did not. This really had a very, 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 very slow move. Let me just actually play this out. I'm curious. I thought it resolved positively, but you have to be super patient with it. Let's see. Nope. This actually started dropping as basically it went through all of Asia session, and that's a good note that it should resolve basically within half an hour. So you could just put a half-hour time stop on it as well as a price stop, and then you would have gotten flat out, just simply flat out on the trade, because you're obviously not always going to get the move. One last thing, as long as we're here, we'll yeah, what happened is it dipped into the European session, and then it really started taking off on the 6 o'clock hour. So sometimes you just didn't get the follow through in Asia that you would generally be looking for. Okay, so we will just look for one last trade here into the U.S. session here. This, by the way, this is interesting. So this is news, right? This is CPI news. It kind of pre-market open really decimates the market. And when you're trading news that is pre-market open moving, always have to be super careful at this point to find the more legitimate signals. And here you don't really get a signal. This is interesting. So you don't really get a signal until you get a full reversal. Remember, we actually were talking about this. I was fighting this, and I said, oh, we finally have a signal. When you do get the signal, it's a pure profit signal. So the first signal post the open was actually the buy signal, and it took you, for much more than just 5 or 10. So, that was a really good trade. Okay, so this is what I call time trading in two very distinct periods where we have the highest probability of finding, the true signal. Now, what's interesting is let me kill this. Okay, so we're going to go back to live feeds. And let me get this back down to its normal format. So, we're clearly up all across the board. Let's go to currencies, because I want to show you something really cool in currencies. There are definitely more than one time period in currencies to trade, but the period that is really interesting to trade in currencies, which is totally took me by surprise. And let me just go, I'll go just to the end of this week, because and I'll move it over here. We'll just move it over here because I'll start over here because I want to show you. The really interesting period is after 10 o'clock New York, when London basically starts to go to sleep. What happens is whatever signal is given, which is usually a reverse signal, sometimes a continuation signal, is a really excellent signal for continuity. So let me just kind of show you where we get around here. I'm going to get to 10 o'clock. This is 10 o'clock, right? So we have 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock kind of passes up. What happens here? No signals, boom, stop. So the first signal post 10 o'clock that is legitimate, it basically have to be around 10:15, right? So you just give yourself plenty of windows to clear the 10 o'clock hour. It's post 10 o'clock. Here's the sell. Easy 5 points straight down. So that's on the 12th. Let's just play this one more time. And you could also trade the Asia session too. I think the Asia session, the interesting thing is that it's the Asia session and the London close that really works well on the currency session. So let's get to the Asia session. Asia session will be the same structure as equities, where you're looking at around 2015 and later as the signal for the trade. So now we're coming up to Asia. It gets very super quiet, and I'm looking for a signal here. Okay, stop. And it's actually quite late because this signal is just a little bit too early. This signal is a little bit late. Let me see. That's a 63, 64s, right? And let's play this out. Let's just see how this trades out. I think the thing is, this takes forever. With FX, you really have to be very patient. And you see it finally starts to dip, deep into Asia session, and you eventually boom, make the move, and it makes the move. And the interesting thing about this, I'll be honest with you, is that you're benefiting. With equities, you have a direct Asia open. All the equity markets are kind of open. It's a sort of a auction flow. With currencies, it's a quasi auction flow. So what you're benefiting from is, because currencies are so low volatility, and you have like a 20-point stop, you're kind of also getting the randomness. You're able to survive the random contra moves and then get the directional move as well. So you're sort of benefiting from both when you're trading in Asia. But let me just play you further into the 10 o'clock hour as my final idea, and then we'll get to looking at the markets. You also, I mean, you certainly can play. I don't trade Europe, but you certainly could look at Europe, like the 3 o'clock signal. I mean, the early 3 o'clock signal in Europe, especially in the euro, obviously is a great directional signal. Sometimes, if one of the things that I like to do if I want to be super confident is that if this is a second signal, in other words, it's a double sell signal confirmed prior, then I have a lot of confidence that I think we're going to have the European Open that direction. You're still going to feel some heat. He goes 56. He goes basically 10 against you, but eventually, definitely continues as far as the direction goes. But I don't like to trade Europe because I find it to be sometimes very obscure. There's a lot of contra flows, a lot of different participants who have different agendas. At the 10 o'clock hour, it's mainly market makers, and they tend to know exactly where they want to take the currency pair because they want to square up on the position. So I guess this is yesterday's CPI data, right? And we're looking for a post 10 o'clock hour. Stop. Sorry. So post 10 o'clock hour here, right over here, right? I'm not looking for a lot. I'm in at 25, 10, 20, and it goes to 32. I'm just looking for 5. Gives you a very, very clean directional move. Then eventually, I think it actually, let me see what happens to it. It kind of waffles back down. It trades out, and then it sort of consolidates for the rest of the day, and then it kind of recaptures its move. There's 100 different interesting things you can play against it. You could say, oh, is it gonna break the day's low? Which I think it actually does. Oh, I'm surprised. Yeah, it does. So the post 10 o'clock hour, it actually has that big burst, and then it completely, U.S. core completely takes out and creates essentially a whole new trend in the pair. And that's why you only want to do just kind of one trade. But now it finally exhausts its U.S. Trend move, and this is where the final trade comes in, where you could position yourself. So again, now U.S. has sold all of its trades. It tested the lows of the day underneath the 1700 hours. Now comes the 2000 hours, and we're looking for signals. Where do we have the signals? Boom, stop. So I have a signal right here, right? Very, very low volatility. I'm long 78s, right? And you just want to, be very, very patient. Let's just say I'm gonna hold till 85 just to give you guys convincing evidence that the direction was pretty good. It's 84, 83, 84, 83. Keeps banging. But and you see how low volatility it trades, but eventually starts to go up to 85. As Asia comes in, 86, 87, and that early signal is what you needed. You just needed to get a good anchor point. Once you got the good anchor point, you traded pretty well from that direction. So I just wanted to share that with you because I thought it was really, really interesting. We can go back to to trading live and fooling around on this, but feel free to ask me any questions you guys have. We're basically very, very quiet pre-open. We got what time? Like it's 8 minutes before the market opens. Everything is totally to the upside. Let's just see how the news was. We can go through the news just a little bit. So everything was hot. I guess no surprise. Market doesn't care. We have the BOC at 10 o'clock, which is really interesting because I definitely want to look at dollar Canada, because if they come in hawkish, well, we could trade dollar Canada as well. Because I think if ECB comes in hawkish, where's dollar Canada? Dollar Canada is 24.60. It's clearly anticipating a hawkish move, but if it is hawkish, it could go all the way down to 2400. So I'll be watching that as just on a purely funded basis. Oh, sorry. Oh, this is all currencies. I want to be looking at um, indices. Anybody have any questions for me? Let me see what you got here. Right. Around 8:30, 2030. I'm using, universal time. I think market is very well bid because they're sort of, they don't care about the inflation pressures, and they're happy that the financials had a strong report. So it's very tempting. Again, this is not a trade, and this is not the setup I just told you. But it's very tempting to kind of front run the which I'll do. I'm just gonna, again, I'm fucking around, but I'm long NAS here, the 66s, just to see if they're going to try to pump it into the open, since the market seems to be, geared to the upside. Again, I'm playing. This is not a setup I just showed you, and I'm pretty much only going to count the setups that I showed you. If I don't, oh, we actually have, look at this. I almost had a trend buy here. So this is pre-market. It's like just the trend buy signal is just pre-market, but at least it's a legitimate, trend buy signal. So I'm staying with, I'm actually anticipating, and I got lucky. So if I'm in at 66 here, targeting 70, basically 70, 71. Let's see if that works on the trade. Pre-open. I kind of front run this candle. If you want to follow me here, I'll just put a sideline here, and we'll see if we can get 70 on this move. Boom, I'm done. I'm done. Okay, so that was 5 points, nice, clean, just kind, me getting lucky, or just, me fooling around. But this was, it's the signal before the open. We have 5 minutes before the open. So it's unlikely that we're going to get any kind of signal on NASDAQ now for quite a while, maybe 10, 15 minutes into the open. But we may get signals in S&P and Dow. And I'm just only going to look at signals right now, just to see, so that I don't pollute you with just scalping ideas. But this was a scalping idea that luckily turned into an actual signal that completely worked for us. That is the indicator called trend fade, which I posted yesterday, and which I'm going to do again. Just one sec. Let me just post that for you guys again. It's a private indicator, which I only let everybody in the room who trades with me have right now. Hang on a second. Okay. Sorry guys, I still have not updated the signal. I mean, I haven't updated the pretty little changes, but it doesn't matter. The indicator is the same. I'll remind me that after live today to update the indicator, so it looks like my final version. Okay, so we got, what time is it? 27, 26. We got 3 more minutes. Nothing much going on here. So what do you guys think about the time of day trading? Yeah, definitely. 2 trades is a lot less risk. Well, you could assume more risk because in FX you could trade euro, pound, CAD, and yen. You could probably trade 4 currencies legitimately because all of those have settlement issues. Um, yeah, that's exactly that was really my point, Karen, is that I really like the fact that it stops you from over trading, stops us from just doing random ass trades. You win, lose, you have a clean trade plan every day, you execute it, and then you go about your business. Um, all right, we are still 2 minutes away, still putzing around. Everybody's really, really overstretched to the upside, but doesn't mean anything. We have to. It may be like all the way till 10 o'clock before we get a signal. And remember, I really want to cut away to Bank of Canada statement just to see what the market does. They have a statement. The key thing is everybody's looking to see if they're actually going to pair the what do you call it, the QE, and if they do, that's obviously a very, very bullish move. Okay, obviously pumping up really, really hard. The 35,000 level. You know me. I'm going to be just really tempted to short the 35,000 because that's such a um, major level. But it's backing off right now, even as we speak a little bit here. All right, so we have openings 30, Dow flying. The 44s on. There's a lot of really, really big numbers. There's the 15,000 NAS, which is really gonna. I mean, I'm really tempted to just run this because I think NAS, they're gonna run the 15,000 NAS. I'm playing around here, but I got long um, idiotically. Never mind. Okay, I I really should stop playing around. But it really looks to me. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of this. Um, wow, NAS really. They the first run to the 15,000. They really rejected big time. It's interesting. All right, we'll watch this very carefully. This is a big slush, but and with the Dow looking the strongest, I think I'm going to get long the Dow here too, because I think the Dow is just good. It feels to me like they just really want to run this hard. Um, sorry, I'm off screen. I got long Dow in the 30s and out at 35 just for a quick scalp. Again, no legitimate trades here, but it really looks like they just want to run it hard. I'm watching NAS because I think once NAS clears this little flame, it's going to go to 15,000. I'm going to come back into NAS for sure. Right now, obviously, I don't have any time of day signals or anything that I want to do legitimately. Okay, I'm going to go long NAS at the 74s here, just for fun, just to show you. Let's see if if I'm right, that they're going to run it hard. What's my target? 79 is my target. Let's see if I can make it to 79. Very close, very close. Oh, I'm surprised. There we go. There we go. And I'm done. Again, just trading, the obvious open momentum moves towards the really, 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 really big numbers. I mean, if I was super greedy, I'd hold all the way to the 15,000 because that's clear that that's where they want to run it right now. But it was good for, it was good for 5 to come back and pump us. So, a couple of 5-point scalps on the NAS while we're just twiddling our thumbs waiting for signals to occur. And because we're so overstretched, today may not be, it may not be till about 10 o'clock before you get any kind of a legitimate directional signal on the move. Yeah, but this was this little fake out move was just so obvious. We've seen that 1,000 times. Once they fake you out and start moving towards the highs, you know they're going to break them. So that was a very, very clean trade. Anybody take the you got the Dow? Anybody take the NAS? I'm just curious. I mean, you know, the second NAS that I took on the +5. I actually want to reconfigure. I need to reconfigure my Dow to the 4020. Oops. Yeah, you got the NQ for 5, and yeah, that was a super easy trade for us. So there was one legitimate signal trade, and there was one just kind of a momentum trade that we took, you know, for +5. Now the, you know, a little bit of profit taking that's settling in. I would be shocked if the Dow doesn't take out 35,000 today. So we just have to watch this carefully for a buy signal. You know, only once we get a trend buy signal, only then do we want to try to position ourselves for it. I'll also be shocked if NASDAQ doesn't take 15,000. When they're this close to such super important psychological levels, you know, there's just a huge amount of speculative pent-up demand to want to run stops at there. Once it gets there, it's an open question. But the magnet towards that level really makes me think it's going to be feasible. You know. So just watching the price action. We're stalling right in front of the 15,000 level, which is very common. NASDAQ, the S&P also has the 4,400 level, which is also a super important level to look at. And generally, I think, you know, the kind of the mentality today is very much risk on. I mean, you certainly see the risk on moves here, quite in play. Now, you know, taking profits off the move, obviously. We're still significantly way above the daily trend line. So if we get a kind of a reversal, it's probably going to be a secondary trend buy signal for us in the 9:30, 10 o'clock hour. Yeah, the Dow was, you know, that's one of the reasons why it's, even though it's very tempting, it's very dangerous to chase the trade off the moving average envelope, right? I mean, you want it to be somewhere here so you have a chance to explode. When you're catching it here, you may get continuation, but you also have this huge reversal flows that you can almost, by very definition, can't absorb, right? You can't absorb the retrace, because even this could be very much correct, but the retrace is going to be 30, 40 points, and it's going to stop you out. Same here. You know, buying this at the 90s, you just can't absorb the retrace. That's the problem. So we're actually, I think we're going to go into red zone here, which means that, you know, now it's going to get interesting as far as structure. But you know, what's obvious, and remember Linda was talking about this. how everybody rushes for the exit in the first 10 minutes. That human behavior of the crowd acting as one gives you tremendous opportunity to either, what she does, which is to go on the opposite side of it, or to kind of join it early, for the wave up, regardless of how you kind of trade it. That's why the opening of the day is such a handicapable event, because they're non-price sensitive moves. They're just driven by the very fact that the market is open, and there are very few times during the market where you have clear definable variables that don't change. So market open is one of those kind of variables which you can trade. No price action here. We can look at the FX. We'll just get off the indices for just 1 second. Just look at FX, just see what's going on. FX is also very positive risk, but kind of again stalling ahead of the 39s. Canada is its own little game. It's going to be fully contingent on what the BOC says at 10 o'clock. So again, you have event risk, which you can trade here with high degree of confidence, because the event risk is going to move the pair, and hopefully we can use our indicators. One of the things that I completely sort of underestimated or not underplayed is how valuable event risk is against our indicator. Like, we can go back. I'm going to go back to Kiwi in just 1 second. Just kind of watching the markets to see if anything's going on here, but not much. No, they're kind of floating around. So I'm trying to remember, what time was the Kiwi RBNZ? Well, we can look on the chart, because I'm sure it'll probably tell us. So where's the Kiwi chart? Here's the Kiwi chart. What did the RBNZ announce? Was that it? I thought they announced earlier. Let's look. Go Forex Live. Where did RBNZ announce? So this was 2:02. Is this a what time was that? I'm trying to figure out what time that was in. It's a GMT. Okay, so that was GMT 2, which was 10 o'clock, which is, I guess that's what it's showing on the chart. That was at 10 o'clock. This is the RBNZ. This is a good example. Yeah. So RBNZ comes out, and super hawkish, obviously, big reaction on the news. We have a trend buy signal post news, which puts us in at 70.08, 22 points. I mean, you usually certainly made 10 points on the move. It was just a great entry signal for for further Kiwi trades. And then you have the European session that you can be looking at for continuity. And also, you could have said, Europe now is opening up, and they're kind of selling off the news. You would have just simply waited until you got a trend sell signal. would have been a very easy sell for a reversal. But overall, the news was very, very positive. And you see when Kathy came in New York, she was actually bullish Kiwi, but for us, he gave us a signal right here. The 6 o'clock New York Open signal was an easy signal to the upside, especially when it was totally confirmed by the positive funda. So it's kind of like you have the funda, you wait for the news to confirm, and then you can you can enter on that time frame. Still looking to see if there's anything on indices right now. Nothing so far. But you guys, you see what I'm saying? I think the important thing is for us to center around the event. Now, on a daily basis, the event risk is just simply market open. That's as good an event risk as possible. But then occasionally, we obviously have big event risk. This week is actually full of event risk. We have the central bank decisions. We have the CPI. We also the markets. I think we have Powell testifying, although he's really not expected to do any kind of material communication here. But it's event risk and post-event structure that really gives us some very excellent trading opportunities. Like that's the whole idea of entering the market rarely, but entering the market accurately is a much better way of organizing ourselves than just kind of like, oh, let's just take every single signal that goes, because that's clearly not going to be of value to us as we go forward. So like I said, looks like a little bit of a risk on trade in FX. Certainly, cable trying to see if it could climb towards the 90 level, the 3,990 level. We'll see if that works. Dow double topped at this 39,940, but that's a temporary hold. Watching NAS, because if NAS turns around and gives a secondary trend buy, I certainly want to consider that. So far, we literally don't have any signals anywhere else on the trade. And then finally, like 15 minutes to the BOC. So we'll hang out and watch BOC too. Yeah, so for those of you who want my indicator, just simply click on the link here. Just click on this, click on the BK Trend Fade link, and it will automatically be installed. It's a private indicator. Okay, so NAS trying to crawl back up after a sharp profit-taking move. Let's see what's going on. Dow is also getting the profit-taking move. I wonder, does Powell come on at 10 o'clock? My only concern here is I got another event risk with Powell, and I wonder if the markets are sort of repositioning ahead of him, just maybe anticipating that he's going to say something unusual. Let's look at the calendar. When is Powell? I thought Powell was, let's see when he's testifying. So CAD manufacturing was weaker. We got BOC statement at 10. Presser is at 11, and Powell speaks at 12. No, Powell's speaking at 12. I guess he's not doing Humphrey Hawkins. He's just keeping everything dovish for the time being. Not much going on, guys. Everything's super quiet, no signals today. Dow is also curling into a corrective mode over here. So again, it becomes about a change of trend. Okay, the NAS coming off the test. I guess the shorts really held off the 15,000 level. It's interesting. So now we're kind of getting into the corrective mode. And we actually, I'm watching this because we could be in a 10 o'clock hour move into a trend sell position if we get a little bit deeper into the corrective mode. So let's see what happens here a little bit. All right, trying to watch this price action. It's a little bit boring as hell, but most of the move happened before the open, so we kind of have to just roll with it. And I'm still really, really curious. I'm just waiting for the Canada story. In about at around 57, 58, we'll switch over to FX and just watch Canada, just for fun. What was that? Put somebody on mute. Somebody forgot to turn off their microphone. Okay. All right, we're just we're watching price action basically correct itself. Interesting. S&P correcting, NAS is correcting, Dow is all correcting, but like the next signal is going to be interesting because if this gets really red and we start showing trend sells, That's really kind of a negative reversal of the first hour price action. Right now, it's just um, simply profit taking moves. Keeping one eye on Canada. Canada seems to be very, very quiet. We still got about 5 minutes before the dollar CAD BOC decision. Dow seems to have found a little bit of support here at this 950 level. So what is that? That's about 50 points off the highs. Kind of like a clean double bottom. We could have probably traded this double bottom. I just wasn't paying attention. Um, I really, like I love watching Nasdaq because I'm not long this, but I would have been long this. Like I would have been long 56s because Nasdaq loves to play poker with you. They love to fake you out and make you think that they're selling when they're actually buying. So if you came in at 56s, this was like a pretty clean, 3, 4, 5 point. Definitely would have been a decent 5 point scalp here because I think it goes back up to the 65s on this move. Nasdaq does this all the time where they'll create this big flame out candle to get everybody to think, oh, this is a top, and actually it's a great time to buy because they're totally bluffing the move. The price action just on a micro level happens over and over and over again in Nasdaq. See this? See the little fake out, boom, 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 and then they're gonna ramp it up. It's unbelievable. They love to yank your chain all the time. Well, guys, we got nothing going on except the little ramp in NAS, and no signal showing up. And I want to just switch our focus for look at that. You see that 61? That would have been such an easy trade. I want to switch the focus to Canada just because I'm curious to see what BOC is going to do. We rarely get a chance to do FX during our time zone. I'm going to put the voice box on. It's going to be delayed, but it doesn't matter. We're not looking to instantly react to this thing, and maybe it will tell us what's going on here. Oh, we really kind of settled down into a very low vol. It's very unusual. It's a real low vol. I guess they're waiting for Powell. That's why today is such a. It's a crazy day. There's a lot of events, but they're all staggered, and the market just isn't going to move until it hears something. I mean, if he's super dovish, they're going to run the 35,000s. They're going to run the 15,000s before the end of the day. I'm almost certain of it. All right, 58. Let's see what. I wonder why this is not. They're not coming in on the stream box. Let's watch the just the price action, because that's going to be the most interesting. See if they're super bullish or bearish. Time is what we have. It's just going to be like 1 minute before the announcement. Okay, let's see what they say. I don't know how much of a react. Oh, I guess they're hawkish. I guess they're hawkish. They're selling it. If you guys want to sell it, I guess it's gonna be hawkish. I guess the market doesn't think it's dovish enough, so it's buying it off. Wow. So it's really significant labor slack is still, it's a very, very dovish sign. So it's going back up above 2,500 probably. Right, right. So sorry. So so it's going to 25. I actually got long here in the 80s. Sorry about that. So yeah, the market was really looking for super hawkish moves, and instead it was a pretty dovish reaction. You can see the price action completely change itself around, um, and it went to 25 as kind of a natural trade. The intelligent trade now, I mean, I think at this point you don't want to be chasing it. Certainly, I took some in the 80s as it started to turn around, because when I said to you it's going to 25, that it was definitely clearly the comment about labor slack still there basically says that they're not willing to get tough just yet. So all of that got positively repriced, but really now you don't want to be trading this until you get a trend buy signal. If the price act, totally reprices. Let me just kill this for a second. But otherwise, it's done for now. And we can trade this a little bit later. I'm going to kill this a little bit. We can trade a little bit later. Oh, look at Nas. Nas is coming back with a vengeance, making a secondary run. So we're going to watch this really, really carefully. This is the last possible trade of the day. Nas coming back to this very, very key 15,000 level. I guess it's responding. It's responding to the fact that they were thinking the Bank of Canada was going to be hawkish. Now that it's dovish, it means lets the Fed stay dovish, and maybe that's what's pushing NAS equity prices. It's very tough. I'm very tempted to buy here at the 87s. Yeah, I'm going to buy here. I bought the 87s just on the spec that they're going to run it higher through these levels. Basically, my target now is around 94. So, we'll see if this double top, there we go, 93, almost made it to my 94 target. We were very, very close. 93, 94, 75. I'm going to take it out here. There we go. 94's got taken. So if you guys took that, that was I did it off screen because it was just too fast. But, you can see that, here was the trade. This was the 94 trade. So that was pretty obvious. I think what's happening is, obviously, because it's very, very dynamic, the dovishness of Bank of Canada takes the pressure off the Fed, and that just obviously is a ramp on NAS. Anytime you have easy money, NAS just starts to verticalize. So they took it through, and they were testing the double top. They still holding it off the 15,000. That may be a level just a little too hard to breach just yet. But to me, I think it's going to be a given. It's going to get taken out. But the run through, once it got here, was pretty easy to see they're going to at least run it through the double top highs. I don't know if anybody followed me on NAS, but that was a nice clean 5 points right there. You guys anybody get in that trade? And you see dollar Canada trading 25.06 now, right through the 25 level. Anybody do anything on any of those trades, guys, with me? And if not, that's okay too. Today was kind of a very wild and woolly day, but we actually managed to have a good day today. We hit 3 NAS trades, 3 upside. We have the trend buy, showing up now, but I have a meeting, so I'm gonna leave you guys alone. Let you guys manage this for the rest of the day. You guys, nobody did any of the trades. Nobody's talking to me here in the room. I guess you guys are all too busy trading. Too fast. Yeah, it was very fast. It was super fast. Yeah. Krasi was watching. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Today was kind of a very, very crazy day because it was sort of no action and then lots of action. So we'll let it play. There is a trend buy here. It's a pretty legitimate trend buy, but I can't follow it because I got to go do a meeting. But it looks like it's going to resolve at least for 5 for us. Look, because what was this? 83 needs to be about 88. Yeah, I think it looks like it's gonna resolve at least for 5 for us. I hear you. Anyways, look at dollar Canada. Dollar Canada really gone through the 20. Oh, sorry, I missed it. I'm sorry. I was yapping away. We had the trend buy signal in dollar Canada here, 95s. Should have taken that, but we were trading the NAS as well. So there was very, very cool, clean, legitimate signals here. Look at Canada just gone through a major thing, and it's just a great example. Again, a very, very good example of how a combination of hardcore event risk, like serious event risk, in combination with our indicator, creates a very powerful 1-2 news punch combination. Like this was such a clean, good-looking trade, right? I should have actually loaded up the shop on this one, but I took my eye towards NASDAQ. Anyways, hopefully that was fun, guys. If nothing else, it was just pretty fun. It definitely resolved positively on all fronts. and hope you guys all really enjoyed it. I'll see you guys tomorrow, but this is going to be our focus is going to be sort of on these time of day trades, and hopefully we get a chance to have more than one or two possibilities for them. Okay, everybody enjoy. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll post this up in a little bit.